I have a brand new style to show you. This is Harper by Jon Renau. They just launched it. She's in regular synthetic fibers. I have her in the color 8RH14, also known as Mousse Cake. And I can't wait to tell you all about this style. I would like to thank Name Brand Wigs for sending me Harper so I can share her with all my wig sisters. Jon Renau just had a new launch. I've got a couple of the styles and Harper is one of them. Name Brand Wigs is a wonderful online retailer. I've been a customer for a long time, 5.5 years, and I just love working with them. I do a lot of reviews for them because I believe in them and I think that they're a great resource. I have a link in the description to this wig and a coupon code that will save you money. Let's take a look at this one from all sides. Like I said in the beginning, this has regular synthetic fibers, so for my wig sisters who really don't like longer heat-friendly styles and you really are itching to see some new regular synthetics, right here. Now, Harper has a full mono top and a lace front. Let's take a look at that lace front. They did a really great job because this is a pretty dark color. The knots are small and it looks super realistic. I think they just did a fabulous job. And the top has a full monofilament, which means if I can get her turned inside out, you can part her anywhere, all up here. This is meant to look like scalp and it's free, basically free parting. And sometimes it can be a little tricky to change that part, but definitely something you can do. The way she's parted right now is how she came to me. We've got the lace front, soft ear tabs, ample ear tabs for good coverage, an extended nape, Velcro adjusters. You can see I have them cinched in quite a bit. We'll talk about fit in just a moment. And the rest is open wefted. Now the reason I have this cinched in so far and a wig grip on, because I don't always wear a wig grip in every one of my reviews, but I find Jon Renau wigs to run pretty true to average. And you see there's a little tangle here. We'll talk a little bit about tangling and all that good stuff in just a moment. But I find Jon Renau wigs to fit really true to average, and I have a pretty small head. All of my measurements are in the description. Here's what I want you to do. When you watch these wig reviews, it can be really, really hard to know how a wig is going to look on you, especially if the reviewer isn't really built like you're built. I made that mistake early in the beginning of my journey, and I would purchase wigs on others that I thought looked so gorgeous, and then I would get them and they didn't look like that on me. So I always have all my measurements in the description. I want you to go take a look at those. The front is 7.25 inches, so you can see there is a little bit of kind of face framing layers in the front. The crown, so from the crown down, is 13.75 inches. So when you see this on me, and you can see it falls basically to my collarbone, below my shoulders, that's a product of my head size and shape, the length from my hairline to my chin, the length from my chin to my shoulders, all of that. So if your measurements are very different from mine, then you can assume that the wig isn't going to fall in the same place on you. I just wanted to share that because I do hear a lot from people. You know, they'll buy a wig and they'll say, oh, you know, it was to your chin, but it's to my ears or it's to my shoulders, and that's because of our measurements being different. And that ties into cap fit, which I had started talking about, because if you go look at my measurements as I describe how this fits me, you can try to make an assessment about how it will fit you. So I have it cinched in a lot, nearly all the way. This one has a lot of stretch, but it definitely is generously sized in the circumference. I have a 21¼ circumference. I think if you are 21, if you're used to wigs being a little big on you and you can wear a wig grip or you adhere the lace, then I think you're going to be fine. But I do think this is going to fit up to a 22 and maybe even in a half, because it does have a lot of extra room. I do get extra cap up here quite a bit, as a matter of fact. I'm very petite over the top of my head. I can wear Jon Renau wigs really comfortably as long as I have a wig grip on. So I think it's going to fit a wide range from average petite to average large because the caps have a lot of stretch. So hopefully that helps as you try to assess which brands are going to work best for you based on your measurement. This is what I would call a moderate density piece. It is not heavy density, but it's not light density. It's a really good, healthy amount of hair. You can kind of see how it's nice and full at the ends. And And it really doesn't have traditional permatease. I feel a little bit of crimpy fibers right here at the crown. Just a little bit. Nothing super excessive, not poofy, not pillowy. It's definitely really flat to the top. So if you struggle with volume on wigs, maybe you've been losing your hair for a long time, this isn't really a voluminous piece. It isn't super light density, but it absolutely is flat to the head and has a really nice natural looking profile. And these fibers, again, they are regular synthetic fibers, so if you do need to change the part or if you want to get some lift in the front, you will have to use a clothing steamer to do that, not a traditional heat tool. I actually have a video showing how I take a clothing steamer to fix the part and to get lift in the front. I'll make sure that video is linked below because it is definitely a skill you're going to want to learn if you want to have a lot of choices. I would say that the wig wearing journey, one of the challenges is they're not always 100% ready to wear out of the box, depending on your preferences. And so knowing how to do things like take a clothing steamer to regular synthetic to modify the style will help a lot. But because it's regular synthetic, it does tangle a little bit. Now, I find that's very much the case with most regular synthetic wigs. This is a nice length, so you're not getting a ton of tangling, but it's really important that you carry a wide tooth comb with you everywhere, because you do want to comb through your synthetic wigs regularly. Even if you never did that with your bio hair, that will really help prolong the life of these because you'll be preventing really terrible knots and tangles, especially at the nape, that can be hard to get out at the end of the day. So, wide tooth comb. This isn't excessively tangly, but it has some tendency to do that, and that will absolutely prevent any terrible tangles from forming. Overall, I just think this is a super natural style. You can tuck, you can put clips in it. You could even wear this one in a ponytail. If you like to wear ponytails, this would be perfect for a low ponytail. Just make a really nice sleek ponytail. And I do actually in the summer when it's really hot out, I like to take some of my longer wigs and wear them in updos and ponytails, even over short wigs on occasion, because just getting all the hair up off my neck, up off my face makes a huge, huge difference in how, even just doing this right now, I feel so much cooler. So if you struggle with wigs being hot or you're worried about that, maybe consider getting at least one longer wig, even if you don't really have long hair, you don't wear your hair long, that you can kind of tuck up, because that will help a ton. And that's my go-to for really hot days. Let's talk about color. 8RH14, otherwise known as Mousse Cake. I will say though, this color, I have a fiber in my face. Sometimes when you get a stray fiber, it's okay to just pluck it out. You don't have to struggle with fibers that want to go wayward. Sometimes those knots get all wonky and it can cause the fibers to lay in a way that you don't like. Just a little tip. 8RH14. I loved this color early on. I had a number of Jon Renau wigs in this color. Back then it was called Hot Chocolate. So if you're a longtime wig wearer, you may recognize that they have started to rename some of their colors. So this one is called Mousse Cake. And in the Jon Renau line of wigs, when you see an RH with the color code, that means that the wig has 33% highlights. So 8RH14 is basically a medium brown with natural blonde highlights, kind of a dark blonde. So with colors, especially with synthetic wigs, there is a color chart. I'll link a blog post I wrote where I have a color index linked in that blog post. So an 8 is a medium, generally is known as a medium chestnut brown. An 8 can be ashy, an 8 can be warm. It's impossible to know which it is until you see the color. In this case, I say this is more neutral, leaning warm. And so the 8 is a medium brown, and then the 14 is actually a dark blonde. So the brunette color codes end at the number 12. So very subtle, dark blonde highlights. I am a natural dark brunette, very dark brown hair. When I first started wearing wigs, I couldn't wear highlighted pieces. I couldn't wear even medium browns. I was looking at the dark browns. This color I could do really early on because that highlight is so subtle. I promise you it is not going to feel like you have blonde highlights. It just doesn't look that way. It's also not stripy. And there's that top. Just a real consistent color all the way through. Let's get outside so you can see this color outside. Beautiful easy to wear color that isn't going to draw a ton of attention to you if that's important to you. Thank you, name brand wigs, for letting me show this beautiful Harper. I appreciate all of you so much. I'll see you guys soon. All right, friends, 8RH14. So windy. Kind of hard to really show the color when the hair is blowing so much. But at least you can see how it moves in the wind. Bright sun. There you go. Hey friends, thanks so much for watching. Here are a few videos I think you might enjoy. Go ahead and click on one and watch.